Listen to me. I'm not your enemy. Just the voice of the people. La da do do da do. Last year enough people said give you a song. In all fairness I told all of them hold on. It was only 1 year, your deserve a chance. But it's 2 years now, grace period past and gone. I had no problem with the pension, that was okay. But the money you didn't source on your own. So the credit for that it had to split 2 ways. Since after that we waiting for something major to be done. Not one capital project. Mr. PM. Like your government on recess. Mr. PM. But it's only pictures and videos. Mr. PM. While the poor people belly hollow. Mr. PM. The place looking bleak. Things not sweet on the street. But it's only paint and flowers like and everywhere you pass, people balling, balling. All over the damn country, people balling, balling. Like all you deaf and listening, balling, balling. Everywhere you go, Papa, people balling, balling. The economy's sick, no money on the street, but all you only planting flowers like flowers go to eat. Oh Lord, them public servants say they waiting still. Like regularizing them got stuck on a hill. The teachers and the manies tired fret. And them nurses say how they live to regret. The healthcare condition is overbearing. Basic medication the patients can't get. And the more people cry, all you're doing nothing. The hospital suffering from a complete case of neglect. What about no more contract? Mr. PM. And primary health care, that was vote talk. Mr. PM. The medical staff could hardly function. Mr. PM. And it's like that all over the island. Mr. PM. The place looking bleak. Things not sweet on the street. But it's only paint and flowers like and everywhere you pass, people balling, balling. Everywhere you go, mama, people balling, balling. People can't feed their families, balling, balling. All over the country, people balling, balling. People feeling sick, hopelessness have them weak. But all you only planting flowers like flowers go to eat. Oh Lord, bambado, bambado, ladoy. Mr. PM, the old people have a saying, who can't hear us feel? Listen, sir. Mr. PM, the country living in fear. Night and day bullets ringing out everywhere. Still waiting for you say something to we. As we lead on head of security. Right now the people frightened and hopeless. No confidence in the leadership. national security in trouble.
Mr. PM,
Cause the police force you dismantle.
Mr. PM,
The place looking bleak. Things not sweet on the street, but it's only paint and flowers like them thing good to eat. And everywhere you pass, people balling, balling. Everywhere you go, Papa, people balling, balling. The country don't have no money, so balling, balling. All over the place, Mama, people balling, balling. People afraid to sleep. Things not safe on the street, but all you only planting flowers like
flowers good to eat.
plenty families hurting still can't believe. With all the empty campaign promises you give. Enough people with no place to rest their head. Where all they talk about housing, housing, and all your dread. On the Chinese houses, those families were waiting to have a place they could call their home. And with the sweet talk, they thought that better was coming. Was almost free, now to get it, they have to beg for a loan. What about affordable housing?
Mr. PM,
People fed up at the mama guiding.
Mr. PM,
Tell them about this Stony God project.
Mr. PM,
Cause they say you're pretending like you forget.
Mr. PM,
The place looking bleak. Things not sweet on the street, but it's only paint and flowers like.
them thing good to eat.
And everywhere you pass, people balling, balling. Everywhere you go, Papa, people balling, balling. The country don't have no money, so balling, balling. All over the place, Mama, people balling, balling. People on the street with no place to eat or sleep, but all you only planting flowers like.
Flowers good to eat.
Get ready for the onslaught. You're mad. You think they get away with? I'm a real bad man. I was the first one to win independence from 3 times in a row. But they never even invite me to one of the independence show. They say me and Usman Kelly singing political songs like we have an ulterior motive to bring the government down. But I tell them, hold on, wait a while. I won't let political vampires grab my style. They could take a look at all my independence songs. I never sing politics, always write some sweet lyrics. So I don't know where they get this stinking idea from. Hey, somebody tell my Kenny gang a mistake they make to rap with young song. I'm in real long, I know what is going on. They could leave me out from semi-final. That will never stop me at all. I'm in real long, I know what is going on. They had their thing well planned to give the shanty man. So they leave out them bad man. They know they go take the ground. Up the Paris set. So they make a big man wet. They say that we ain't good. We can need that yellow food. Hey! Wow to them. It was disrespectful. What a labeling man. I'm a real bad man. It's on the show of failure that living down by me. Well, one day he disrespect me because I asked him for my money. Then he went up in the ministry when he was in charge of culture. And he gave them strict instruction, don't give me no for Carifta. Somebody tell Mr. Study for me. Carifta weekend, well, I made the most money. Because when I roll up to me, nice clean Toyota. I drop people all over. I collect US dollar. But I never make Burberry roll under my queen car. Hey, somebody tell this banger wrong. A mistake he make to put young very long. I know what is going on. I want him to explain to the people how he got his driver's license. I'm in very long. I know what is going on. You take them people land and try to be Lockbustan. Then you walking wrong like you with some big badge, and when Puzzle pull the barricade, you fly up in a rage. That's why baby Jesus, he got you ignorant. When scholar running up him out and keep me chill and NNP like system set all the blood up be jumping and clapping for you. Some people bad minded and head just for the life. I got they don't do anything to me so wrong and right. So right now I really don't give a damn what critics say. I come in with a gun blessing, I don't pay anything. So nobody cannot tell me what the hell to sing. When keep me just selling passport, all they want to strangle him like a goat. I'm in some real long, I know what is going on. No passport selling more than rum in shop. I don't hear nobody talking about that. I'm in some real long, I know what is going on. Bullets flying like buds, but I don't hear in a word from the commissioner, neither the prime minister. Everybody mouth and lock. No one is afraid to talk. Right now I go say it blunt all your hypocrite mouth and boy. Ah, I had call a girl CBI money boy, but I hear most of it outside there. I like about to say he's in Dubai. You see right now, out and bad, out and bad, out and bad. This year, out and bad, out and bad, out and bad, out and bad. I get in an out and bad. Think about it first.
As a calypsonian, the true voice of the people, to lead you on the right path, I'm responsible. The decisions you make not only decides your fate, but is an entire country. It could make or break. The Lord power been vested in you from the day that you were born. We are king and queens, we have control, not to be used as any pawn. That God-given gift so we can know what is right from what is wrong. And in everything that we do, always in for positive outcome. Look before you leave, cause what you sow you reap. Look before you end up in a big, big heap of. Look before you leave, for curiosity take a peep. Look before you end up drowning in the deep. What I'm trying to tell you, don't jump unless you're sure about it. Don't jump, don't act like you're mad. Don't jump, it might be too dangerous. Think about it first. Don't jump, once you leave the rock, don't jump, and no turning back. No, no, try to avoid disaster. Oh yo yo, don't let selfishness and greed be your hindrance.
And good night to you, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Once again, it is time for Talking Points. My name is Sheldon Scott. I'll be with you up until the 10 o'clock hour.
You have made
It's now 13 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock on the Spice Isle of Grenada.
goals that you set out for, suddenly is all grain. Be a leader and don't just follow. Or you could end up following clowns. Or you could be like birds that should be soaring. But
Saying a special good night to all of you joining us via the various mediums.
that you'll
Those of you joining us via We Noise Radio, We Noise TV.
to always remember, the cover can't help you judge the book. Look before you,
Those of you who are joining us via the YouTube and via the Facebook pages.
look before you end up.
I do hope you all have been having a wonderful, wonderful day thus far
You leave.
into the evening.
Take a peek. Look before you end up.
Good night and thank you, Brother Adrian Watts, yeah?
What I'm trying to tell you, don't jump unless you're sure about it. Don't jump, don't act like you're mad. Don't jump, it might be too dangerous. But by the time you realize it's already late.
Yeah, I've been trying to fix my. I don't know what it is with the camera tonight. The camera just, yeah, when I get it set properly, it just goes off again. So we're gonna just. I could have started exactly at 8 tonight, but the camera has been giving some issues here,
With so much regrets, they jump from the pot to the.
and I can't figure out exactly what it is going on with it.
Cause what you sow, you reap.
So I'm trying to fix that. Yeah.
End up in a pile of. Look before you leave.
So once again, good night to each and every one of you.
Look before you end up. Drowned in the deep.
Let me see if we've gotten to our magic number. Now we in there yet, man. What I'm telling you? What I'm telling you? If you did not know program tonight, as it's a Wednesday, no, I told you all last night we haven't program tonight, eh?
First, think about it first. Once you live.
I hate to see how that lighting is off there. You know, yeah, it's really annoying me. I like to try having the thing proper, you know, and it's it's getting to me how it looks there. But the bottom line is we on, yeah.
No. After everything now, at the end of the day, you are the one who have the final
Good night to you, Kathy Albert. Hope that you have a wonderful night tonight, yeah.
ships or even
Nurse Wendy and Maguire. Good night.
is always there resting in your hands. Man, don't venture if it's looking blurry. You don't know what's behind closed curtain. You know what you had for the past years, but you don't know what's coming in.
Shemi Joseph, I see you. Good night to you. Tanito, Yolanda Pariag.
Always feared of itself.
Hey, Mokopen, give me a call back because I lost your number. You called, I had the number there, I wrote it and I lost it. So Mokopen, after the program, give me a call. Yeah, because I need to link you up, you understand? Right. Yeah, Mokopen, not Moko Joseph. Mokopen. Yeah, give me a call.
What I'm trying to tell you, don't jump unless you're sure about it. Don't jump, don't act like you're mad. Don't jump, it might be too dangerous.
Yes, folks, remember to hit the like button and to share the program with as many people as possible.
Ain't no turning back. No.
Because listen, right now we have a situation where there are people that are saying things and then come back and saying it's not that they say. Yeah? They don't have the decency to say, listen, I've said that, I'm wrong, and I apologize, I take it back. They don't have the decency to say, I've done this, and I'm wrong, I apologize. These people, I don't know who they grew up with, they don't have no, as we were saying, Grenada, they don't have no autopsy. Yeah? Because I don't understand how they could be doing. And I'll explain what I'm talking about in a little while. I just haven't hit my magic number yet.
Like it, politics. Now so many things I will have to fix.
Mrs. Watts, good night to you.
I go fix up them old police station to hold those who murder and rape.
Mr. Matheson, good night to you, bro.
About an ex-prisoner.
And the lovely Mrs. Matheson, good night to you as well.
High prices that most Grenadians can't afford. Instead of demolishing those
Just remember, you all have meeting in Carriacou next week, Thursday. Senator, the Honorable Nolan Cox. Yeah, you all have got a meeting with him next week, Thursday, out there in Carriacou. Let me just tell you the exact location of that particular one. Last night was by Sky's shop in 6 Roads, and tomorrow is by Neil's shop in Bogles. That's next week, Thursday. Huh? Yeah.
Oh God, and this is of the blues. My people balling with their mouth closed. Mr. PM, please open up some doors. Why the hell food prices gone up so fast? Transformation in we mass. The people balling anyway you pass. Transformation in we mass. You only looking out for the upper class. Transformation in we mass. You don't care if people answer to with grass. Transformation in we mass. Hey. Oh, yo, yo. Ballin', ballin'.
Let me say a special good night to you, Dr. Mayana Charles. Hope that you had a wonderful evening this evening.
Politics.
And I listened to both Senator Norland Cox. I listened to most of the Senate today, and I did listen to Senator Norland Cox. I did listen to Senator Mayana Charles, and they were fantastic today in their presentations in relation to the VAT amendment that is seeking to place VAT on digital transactions. So they were absolutely wonderful on that today. Yeah.
But just remember the local workers and make sure that you treat them right. Don't leave them balling with them out close. Oh God, baby, Jesus is up the blows. Grenadians balling with them out close. They say when you're poor is when you expose. My people balling with them out close. Yeah, them. Oh God, baby, Jesus is up the blows.
Yeah, what I'm going to do in a short while is I'm going to play the presentation by Senator Cox.
Be careful with the tons.
Because I know many people, they want to go and watch. Nah, they have time to go and sit down and listen to this entire thing. But I think it's important that you hear Senator Cox. Yeah? So we're not taking any calls. Let me repeat. We're not taking any calls at this time. All right? Let me repeat it again. We are not taking any calls at this time. Nice? Yeah. So let's hear from Senator Cox, his presentation on the VAT amendment that was passed in Parliament today.
Jeffrey, to the Parliament, and to concur with Senator Britton that the Senate is, of course, the most interesting and exciting place. But as Madam President, also, I think we may have to have a further conversation. As being the Deputy President of the Senate, I think we may have to make some amendments to the standing orders because of Mr. Jeffrey's line of work, the Parliament presents a repository for lyrical content, and we may have to find some way to monetize from that, So, I don't know if I'll be fortunate enough to be part of that that content. But I believe that it will be very difficult for me to escape from it. But I just say it for what it's worth. But it's a pleasure to have you here, Mr. Jeffrey, and all the best on your tenure. Madam President, before us this morning is a very important bill, and of course, any bill that comes before this House that creates or in some way presents financial implications for our citizens or businesses is one that we should always look closely to ensure that we do justice, not because of where we sit, but because of the impact that it can have on the country going forward. Madam President, this bill purports to modernize the greater our country tax or VAT regime through the digital economy. While the policy objective of taxing digital services is somewhat new for our country, is something that we have to look very closely at and dive into. I will spend some time in a surgical way trying to look at some of the clauses of this bill and the implications, and also maybe make some recommendations for possible amendment, if not today, sometime in the future, based on what I see. Madam President, this taxing of digital services supplied by non-residents has some merit. But this legislation obviously do have some gaps that can possibly harm the Grenadian consumers impose unreasonable compliance burdens, and also not only so, also for local businesses, and can create enforcement mechanisms that are neither practical or not equitable. And I did hear the leader of government business, presenter of the bill, spoke about fairness and equitable. But, Madam President, I beg to differ that there are stark contrasts to his suggestion of fairness and equitableness. This bill is, I think, is very, very far from that. Madam President, the first area that I want to highlight is Clause 5, which speaks to unworkable enforcement against non-resident suppliers. And Clause 5 introduces a simplified registration regime for non-resident suppliers, yet provides no meaningful enforcement mechanism. The controller cannot in any way compel a company like in Silicon Valley to register, cannot seize any asset outside of Grenada, and cannot prosecute any entities with no local presence. The practical reality is, Madam President, platforms like Netflix, Amazon, will and can simply ignore registration requirements, can pass costs to consumers through price increases, can challenge the legislative basis for enforcement in international forums. Basically because there are no strong enforcement regimes, Madam President. So in comparison to the local businesses, this is what the non-resident suppliers have to contend. So there is no equitable approach in terms of registration, Madam President. Clause 11, subsection 2 provides a 6-month grace period during which non-resident suppliers pay no VAT whatsoever. Madam President, I contend that this is not a transitional relief. It is a government concession to non-resident suppliers. Will not comply. They don't have to comply. Meanwhile, local businesses face immediate liability. So that is not equitable. Madam President, this provides a clear opportunity to amend so that non-resident suppliers should not receive preferential transitional treatment denied to Grenadian businesses. So I just want to make it clear that this is a stark contrast that non-residents have 6 months, or Grenadian businesses have to immediately comply, unless my interpretation of that clause is not clear. Madam President, the mover of the bill can speak differently. The second area, Madam President, is on unfair competitive disadvantage for local digital businesses. Clause 4 treats electronic marketplace operators as a supplier for VAT purposes. A Grenadian platform, for example, a local delivery app, or tourism booking service, will become fully liable for VAT on every transaction where the underlying supplier is not registered. And here is the scenario, Madam President, just to explain further. Let's say a Grenadian marketplace connects to a consumer, right? An artisan who is not registered, who doesn't meet the threshold for VAT. The marketplace must charge, must collect, and remit VAT on full supply. That is what that clause is basically stating. This creates an administrative burden that foreign platforms can simply ignore. Local innovators, local businesses are penalized, while the non-resident marketplace like Amazon or Airbnb face no effective consequences for that. Clause 4, subsection 3, provides an exemption only if the underlying supplier is VAT registered, a threshold many small creators cannot meet. Yes, clause 4, subsection 3 provides an exemption only if the underlying supplier is VAT registered, a threshold many small creators cannot meet. Simply stating, Madam President, there are a number of businesses who will have to pay VAT, but basically they would not, they don't meet the threshold for VAT. So I don't know if there is an intention later on to amend the threshold for that so that some businesses who currently does not, based on the revenue generated annually, I don't know how they are wrapped into this, whether or not that threshold will be amended. Madam President, the third issue, the third area of concern has to do with this reverse charge mechanism. And from my review of this bill, Madam President, this can have some crippling effects for small businesses locally. Clause 8, and that speaks to Clause 8. Clause 8 introduces a reverse charge for business recipients of digital services. So any registered person receiving digital services from a non-resident must self-account for VAT. This means that a small accounting firm, for example, I'm using a cloud software like, say, QuickBooks, becomes a tax collector, basically. For example, a hotel using an online booking engine must calculate VAT on that service. Even a restaurant that is using a delivery platform software, they will have to file additional returns. That is basically what Clause 8 speaks to in terms of the reverse charge. Straight away, Madam President, the compliance costs will exceed in terms of whatever revenue that small business may have to collect. So our small and medium-sized enterprises, they are already struggling. We still have recovery costs from burial and of course even the pandemic. The whole issue of inflation that a number of small businesses have to contend with because we have increasing fuel costs worldwide. So now this additional administrative task to perform, to collect tax on this reverse charge, basically they are not being paid for that, Madam President. So that in itself is another burden. Research, Madam President, shows in jurisdictions, other jurisdictions in the world, like in South Africa, where similar reverse charge mechanisms are employed. This can cost small business up to 15 to 25% for digital services that they import. Those are research figures. So it's something that we have to pay attention to. And while we may not see it now, it may look simple on paper, there are implications. And that is from other countries who have implemented this reverse charge mechanism. The fourth area of where some clarity is required, Madam President, I think is something that maybe I may have a different view on it, but it's something that is worth looking at. It has to do with the definition of consumer I think it creates a bit of confusion, and maybe it's worth for us to have some discussion. So clause 2 defines consumer as any person not registered for that and who does not acquire services in the course of a taxable activity. This, Madam President, I believe creates a perverse incentive where registered persons will simply not provide their VAT registration number to non-resident suppliers to avoid the reverse charge obligation. We are saying that that is a possibility. All right? The controller in any way cannot verify where a person in Grenada purchasing cloud storage, let's say from Apple, is using it for business or for personal purposes. So I think that is where the challenge comes. Like for example, so let's say a self-employed, somebody who does consultancy work, who might be a consultant, is self-employed as a consultant, and so you use, like for example, your Google Drive or your Microsoft software. You may use it for personal purposes, you may use it for your business. How does a non-resident supplier determine and how to treat with that on that purchase? So they are unable to differentiate. And so I think in terms of the definition of consumer, I think there might be an opportunity for some more clarity to define that, so that we don't find ourselves somebody who might be using those services for personal as against business. So I just wanted to raise that, flag that as a possible issue going forward. Madam President, the next area of concern, and I heard while on ministerial statements, giving some remarks on ministerial statements, my colleague Senator St. Clair, who have a skillful way of deviating into several topics very skillfully, starting to debate the bill of ministerial statements earlier this morning. And he was speaking about an area. It's a very serious area, and it's one that really requires some attention. And that has to do with the geolocation rules regarding this bill for digital services, which can be easily circumvented because of technology, and I'll explain. Clause 7, Madam President, in section 18, 13A, providing that a digital service is supplied to a consumer in Grenada where 2 or more prescribed indicators, meaning that your billing address or IP address or bank location, must be provided by Grenada. So a sophisticated non-resident supplier who has the technology, who has the skill, can easily reroute the IP address through a different location, different proxies, can process payment through a Caribbean-based intermediary, making it look as if, well, they're not outside, that they're here. That can be done, and that is possible. They can accept a billing address in other jurisdictions while being in another location. So that is something that we will have to contend with. The question is whether or not the Ministry of Finance or the Controller has that investigative or technical capacity to audit the location, let's say, of maybe Alibaba or whoever, those big companies. Do we have the technology? Yeah? So basically we are creating, it is somewhat unenforceable if you don't have the capacity to monitor. So, and that is where the challenge lies with that particular subsection. So, Madam President, I want to raise that. And another area, Madam President, I think maybe some clarity from legal affairs regarding this. I wasn't too clear on why this contradiction was presented and whether or not it can be enforceable in terms of record keeping. Clause 9, Madam President, provides that a non-resident suppliers need not maintain records in Grenada. That is presented in subsection 2 of clause 9. But right thereafter, in subsection 3, it's saying that, but must make records accessible and made available to the controller upon request. So, what I'm getting here is that a non-resident who is outside, they are not required to keep records locally, but they are required to keep records where they are, and upon request, they're supposed to make those records accessible to the controller. That is what I'm gathering. So my colleagues will look at it closely. And so what does this mean? What does accessible mean? That is what I'm trying to get at. Can the controller demand access to servers to a non-resident or outside of Grenada? I don't know how practical that would be. I don't know if we do have the forensic to look at data centers. I don't know. So that is a little bit of a confusion for me. I think it would be easy or maybe practical if they were to keep records locally as well as keep records outside of Grenada so that we can quickly access those without having to request them. So, Madam President, I just wanted to highlight that as a major issue. And getting into, I think, one of the most important matters, and that has to do with the privacy conflicts, Madam President, and whether or not the Constitution or constitutional rights may come into play at this particular point, which has to do the whole issue of privacy. And the bill requires non-resident suppliers to collect and retain consumer location data. And that is a very, I must say, alarming request. And I do understand why. And so person's IP address, person's banking information, person's billing address are required to be retained by non-resident suppliers. This, Madam President, I believe is one that we have to look very closely at. I'm not certain whether or not that this is entirely legal based on other laws outside of Grenada. In my research, it is indicating that this conflicts with the European Union General Data Protection Regulation. It also conflicts with Grenada's own data protection bill. I do know we do have a bill that is pending, coming. And also standard international practices limiting data collection to what is necessary for service permission. So these are critical areas. I think probably, Madam President, this is one of the most critical area of this bill which can create some uneasiness with persons' information being collected like that. I don't know, Madam President, whether or not we are ready for something like that, but it's something that we need to look closely at. As I said, we do need and request some guidance from the ministry in terms of whether or not that is correct in terms of the approach and whether or not other countries are doing the same and how they are going to deal with this issue of the data being collected. So, Madam President, this in turn creates an issue for the supplier who has to comply with this legislation in turn may be breaking another legislation in their country or another country. So that is something that we have to look at very closely. Madam President, those are the main points I want to highlight regarding this bill. While I do understand the importance of the bill and do understand the context and the purpose of it, I think there are some significant areas which we can look closely at, and obviously an opportunity for amendments. Like, for example, Madam President, where in clause 8, where exempted registered persons with an annual, something, for example, with an annual turnover below $500,000 for reverse. So putting in some measure. So just saying that persons have to do reverse charge, maybe ascribe a particular annual revenue intake as a measure so that some businesses are not going to fall within the regime of having to deal with this reverse charge obligation, as well as the minimal threshold for marketplace liability as well, Madam President. So there are clear areas, I believe, where we need to look closely in terms of making this bill more effective and more enforceable. But as presented by the leader of government business speaking on fairness, it is clear, Madam President, that this doesn't present any fairness. But I think probably the Ministry of Legal Affairs, they have to navigate also other legal conflicting legislations outside of the country to ensure that they have something that is workable. But Madam President, I believe that there is a clear room for improving this bill. I do not know if there's any opportunity for it to be done now, but those are some clear areas I think we need to pay attention to as regards to that, especially on the issue of the definition of a consumer. I think you don't want to create any conflict out there between who is consuming for personal reason, for business purposes. I think that is something that you need to look at as well. So, Madam President, with these few contributions, I just want to register those objections for this important bill, as the leader of government business indicate that they're looking to looking at an evolving economy. Madam President, I think it's just a way of just saying that we are just adding another tax regime. That is what is taking place. There's nothing evolving about that. Only expense. So, Madam President, with those few contributions, thank you very much for your time, and thank you to the House for indulging me.
I thank you.
Yes, folks, so we were listening there to Senator the Honorable Nolan Cox speaking on the issue of the VAT amendment that took place in Parliament today, where they placed that VAT on these digital items. Yeah? Now, I think the point that the opposition has been making several points on this, and I haven't gone into extensively this particular issue as yet on this program. And the points that the opposition has been making on this is, one, that at a point in time when you already have a significant increase in cost of living, you are implementing a measure that is once again going to not decrease but increase the cost of living for all folks who indulge in, sometimes that's the only little guilty pleasure that you have. You may have your Netflix account, so that when you work hard whole day, you go home and you could watch a nice movie, or you could watch a series, or whatever it is. Yeah? And there are others who may have their Dropbox account, those that businesses and so on, that is going to increase the cost of doing business. It's going to increase the cost for you, the individual, who use online transfers, and you have your subscriptions to different apps and different sites that you need. You have your subscriptions. The opposition has also been making the point of privacy. For instance, if a person has an account for a particular website and they don't want the government into their business, they don't want the government knowing that I have an account for that particular website, the government is saying that that website, others need to give them the information, need to give the government of Grenada that information. And it is going to be the enforcement of this. How is the government of Grenada going to collect this information? Is it that the companies are going to be required by law, and then how are you going to know all of the companies that people have subscriptions to? I myself, I have subscriptions to about 3 or 4 different apps that I use, and so I discontinued some of them recently because you all know how it goes. So I had to discontinue. But for instance, I have Zoom for when I'm having a guest on and we have to bring them on via Zoom. I have to have and have to renew monthly now a Zoom subscription. I can't do it by the year, so I do it by the month. So we have to pay for that on a monthly basis. I would have different security apps that I pay for to ensure that I secure my information and I secure myself. Yeah? So I have those apps that I pay for, and you would have apps that you pay for storage and all these sort of things. You pay for those things. Yeah? What it's going to do is it's going to increase the cost for me. Now, they're saying it in a way like it's only going to increase the cost on the company providing the service. No, the company is not. No company who is providing a service to a small island as Grenada is going to provide that service and say, okay, we're going to put something special in place for the island of Grenada for these 200 or these 300 people we have there who are using our service. They're either going to stop providing the service to Grenada and you're going to have to route it through the US or Canada or somewhere else, or they're just going to totally ignore. What is the mechanism that government is going to use to be able to force these people into providing the information they need? Or is government going to go through the banking service and say, okay, the holder of this debit card has a subscription to A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and on each of them, they need to pay 15%. If it's at 15%, because it might be at 20, it might be at 25, we don't know what percentage VAT is being placed on these different items, and if specific VAT is going to be placed on specific types of items. All of that has not been discussed. Again, it points to the fact that the government has ran into Parliament at this point in time with what I consider to be unfinished legislation. They have not properly thought out. They definitely did not speak to the people who are out here, the graphic designers, all of the artists and so on, the people into the media and multimedia, businesses that utilize things like Dropbox to store the majority of their files. And Dropbox is an online service where you can store all your videos and your photos and your documents and so on. While you might have a hard copy, while you may have a copy that's offline somewhere, it's always good to have it in a way that you can go online, go to your Dropbox, and download the document you need wherever you are. And what is taking place here is that they are saying they're going to charge you for those services. Yeah? You can also, YouTube as it is right now generally is free. There is though a YouTube subscription. Now most people, when I tell people subscribe to YouTube, you're not paying for that. I know there's some folks out there that feel that when I say subscribe to YouTube, it's a paid for. No, when you click subscribe, you don't pay anything. It just gives you a notification when the program comes live or when something is taking place. If the program, we upload a video or something, you would get a notification that Talking Points is live now, or Talking Points has put up this, Talking Points has put up that. You will get a message coming in on your phone saying that. That's why we say subscribe. We say like it, because when you like it, people who are generally close to you, they will start seeing the same content that you see. Yeah? And it will also show you other content that is similar to what I broadcast. So that's why we say subscribe and like the content. Yes, so that you can help spread it. Those of you that already subscribed, don't click again, you might unsubscribe. So don't do that. Yeah, because we head into 6,000 subscribers just now. The aim is 10,000 before the end of the year. Right? Yeah, we had 5,007. 190 somebody now. Yeah, we're looking at 10,000 before the end of the year. We're on 10,000 subscribers. Next year we go deal with 20. But for now we were 10. Yeah? But that is why we say that. So Senator Cox in his presentation just went through what the bill is, what the bill is seeking to do, and the reality. Can it really do that? Yeah? And other areas like who are the people that are going to be directly affected by it, because that's not clearly written out there. So he went into all of that. After doing all of that, the next person that came to speak, in my view, Senator Civil Francis, I think it's best she to just sit down and don't talk. To be honest with you, I think it was best that she had just sat down and said nothing for the rest of the sitting. Because what she said and nothing was the same thing. In fact, the first thing here, and I want you all to listen to this statement very carefully. I know some of you have seen it, but I want you all to listen to the following statement very, very clearly that was made in our parliament today. And I want you all to tell me afterwards what is wrong with the statement that has been made here.
And Madam President, since we are talking and speaking about honesty today, let us also speak factually. That was first introduced in Grenada under the administration of the new National Party government in 2010 through the Value Added Tax Act. Yet today, that has become an established part of the fiscal structure of Grenada because successive governments have recognized its role in revenue generation and economic management.
So again, folks, I want you all to listen very carefully and you all will tell me what the mistake is here. What the lie is here. Yeah? That's being put out by this senator in the parliament. This woman is saying this thing in the parliament.
We are talking and speaking about honesty today. Let us also speak factually.
So they're speaking about honesty and they're speaking about factually. And here's the statement that follows when they say about speaking honestly and speaking factually. Listen to the statement that follows.
First introduced in Grenada under the administration of
I don't want them to miss any words there. Let me go back a little bit. Yeah, hear it.
honesty today. Let us also speak factually. That was first introduced in Grenada under the administration of the new National Party government in 2010 through the actually. That was first introduced in Grenada under the administration of the new National Party government in 2010 through the Value Added Tax Act. Actually, that was first introduced in Grenada under the administration of the new National Party government in 2010 through the Value Added Tax Act.
Folks, for those of you who still have functioning brain cells, and I know that's all the listeners to this program, because I know it's bright people that listen to this program. Who was in office in 2010? Let me repeat. Who was in office in 2010? And therefore, who could have introduced that type of legislation in 2010? There was an election on July 8th of 2008. The new National Party lost that general election, yet they remained with 4 seats, and the then NDC got 11 seats. We know what happened to them in 2013. We had to reach all day. But in 2008, they got 11 of the seats, NNP got 4. Yeah, they clean up. They clean up. So by 2010, the NNP wasn't back in office until 2013. In 2010, it was the Tillman Thomas NDC administration that introduced VAT. Yeah? They were the ones. This is being factual now. This is being realistic now. This is being truthful now. It was not the NNP. And you see, the thing is here, this is supposed to be one of the people in charge of youth in this country who obviously does not know what she's speaking about. comes into the parliament to make a fully political speech because probably she want to go and replace Andal, so she trying to grandstand for it. Andal don't let she replace you, boy. Or they want to lose worse? At least you might lose with some dignity, but when she get a cocktail update, Papa, yo, me, hey. Anyone all you go getting licks anyway. So it's not concerned. Which one ever the one to send, they will send. All you getting licks. But the bottom line is this, the woman is lying. She is willfully attempting to mislead the House because she prefaces what she says by being truthful. So she's trying to make a forceful point here and trying to welele herself as though she knows what she's talking about. So it's between two things. And I'll give her two options here. It's either she does not know what she's speaking about, in which case she should shut up, or it is a situation that she knows what she's talking about and trying to fool somebody because she thinks the rest of us stupid out here. You mean Claudette right next to her? Claudette, you know better than that. You couldn't get the girl a little pull on she jacket and tell her, hey, no, mistake. You make a mistake there. You couldn't pull the girl jacket and tell her so. Claudette head was down. I mean, she wasn't even paying attention to her. Or she might at least try to interject, hey, you make a mistake. Because she realized you're talking nonsense. Absolute nonsense. I mean, where you get her from? The New National Party was not in office because, see, again, it is part of the mindset of the NDC at this point in time. They want people to believe that it has only been the NNP in power prior to 2022. That it was only NNP that was ever in power in Grenada prior to 2022. And they wouldn't say that if they believe it's only the NNP was in power, then the rebuilding of the Tonga St. George and the putting of the cruise ship terminal and the fish market and the vendors market and the bus terminal and the expansion of the town, the national stadium, the road projects all around Grenada, the hospital that was rebuilt from the colonial hospital, the schools that were built like the Westall Secondary School and the schools that were refurbished right around the country. They literally hundreds upon hundreds of young people that went out for scholarships in Cuba, in China, in the US, in the UK, in Canada, all of these young people that went out in the region, that went to SGU, they wouldn't admit that all of that took place under the NNP. They want you to believe that NNP was in power all the time, but nothing positive took place under the NNP as far as they are concerned. That's what they want you to believe. And you see, that mindset now has sunk in so deep that they can't help it, that they're standing up and speak this sort of absolute stupidness and making an embarrassment of our parliament. You done ain't doing nothing in the Ministry of Youth already. All they're doing is drawing a big salary. Not a thing are they doing in the Ministry of Youth for our young people. Their main achievement in the Ministry of Youth between 2022 and now was throwing out Norman Gilbert, the late Norman Gilbert, as the permanent secretary and put him on a little desk in the Ministry of Education. And now you see them writing all sorts of notes saying they're so sorry that he has gone to the great beyond. After they know what they did to him. The wicked. They know what they did. And then you're going in Parliament to talk this kind of stupidness.
Madam President, since we are talking and speaking about honesty today, let us also speak factually.
It is not honest and it is not a fact. So he was not speaking honestly and he was not speaking factually. And it's how they come like if them is the boss and they know what they're talking about and all you over there hush. We know what we're saying. We know what we're doing. This is the person, one of the people in charge of youth in this country, who young people may be listening to and getting that false information that VAT was put in place and the legislation was passed under the NNP. The NNP was not in office between 2008 and 2013. I know because I was in the vineyard. I wasn't picking grapes, I was planting. Nonsense.
Madam President, since we are talking and speaking about honesty today, let us also speak factually. That was first introduced in Grenada under the administration of the new National Party government in 2010.
Let me play that again. Let me play it again.
Introduced in Grenada under the administration of the new National Party government in 2010.
And let's just be careful and what she says here. I want you to listen carefully.
Speak factually. That was first introduced in Grenada under the administration of the new National Party government in 2010. That was first introduced in Grenada under the administration of the new National Party government in 2010.
This is a parliamentarian standing up in the parliament of the country and lying to the nation. Openly lying. Because you had to do some kind of research. So you must know that it was not the new National Party that put VAT in place. You must know that. You must know that. No calls yet, please, folks. No calls yet. But to add insult to injury. Because remember, these folks don't apologize for anything when they do it wrong. They go say big dogs and then they say big boys. Yeah? These folks don't apologize for anything that they do. They could cuss police. They ain't apologizing for that. They could tell public workers in Carriacou, all you're getting, all your salary, go and get water and go and get all your supplies and so. They could tell them all kind of things and they will never apologize for those kind of things because they believe that they're bigger than everybody else. But come election day, all you have to show them they're not bigger than everybody else. Because then, after doing that kind of stupidness, you come and you put up posts. For you to come and say you apologize that you made an error. You come and trying to defend the stupidness that you put up. So you come now, go do your homework. There is a significant difference between introduced and implemented. Stop playing semantics. You said it was put in place by the new National Party. That is the impression you attempted to give to the nation. We are not stupid people. That is disrespect to my intelligence. And I know my mother and father didn't waste their money to send me to school. I used to read the dictionary. So they didn't waste the time. When I went to school, they didn't waste the time. I graduated from 2 schools as a valedictorian. So they didn't waste their money and send me to school. So stop embarrassing our intelligence. I said was first introduced by the NNP. My sentence continued to say that in 2010, through the VAT Act, became an established part of... That is not what it said. Of the fiscal structure of Grenada, because successive governments, i.e., it was never introduced by the new National Party. There were discussions in relation to removing the GCT, the General Consumption Tax, and there was a mechanism that the Ministry of Finance during the NNP period was working on. But the NNP did not introduce VAT. And if it was the NNP and exactly what the NNP was working on was introduced, then they would have introduced it as early as in 2008 itself, because it would have been ready. You just take it and you implement it, or early in 2009. VAT was not introduced until January 1st of 2010. It was brought to Parliament in December of 2009. That is a full year and how much months after the NNP was out of office. You know not of what you speak. And for you to come and apologize, you're trying to be condescending and speak down to people. Little girl, who you feel you is? Really and truly? You can't come and be condescending. You're talking nonsense in the parliament of our country. You are disrespecting the intelligence of each and every Grenadian. My little 7-year-old could tell you exactly what you say. He could repeat it word for word what you said and what you meant by what you said. Any person listening to this program tonight will know exactly what you said. And you come here trying to be condescending to people. What I said prior to that obviously contextualizes the point, but clearly you all thrive on sensationalism. You said nothing in that whole presentation, you know, because you didn't deal with the VAT bill. And I wouldn't play the whole presentation here because I don't have time to waste on that. But this individual spent the time trying to attack the leader of His Majesty's opposition on her video where she spoke in relation to her concerns and the NNP concerns regarding the implementation of that particular aspect of VAT, that amendment that's been made to the VAT Act of 2010. So when you come with this sort of nonsense, the policy context of VAT introduction to Grenada prior to 2008, when NDC took office, was part of an OECS VAT harmonization, that says nothing. You claim that was the NNP put it in place. The NNP did not put that law in place. You lie. Because if you know all this information, then you would know that there was even an issue. Because when VAT was being brought to the parliament, there was an issue at that point in time that it was not supposed to go to parliament at that point in time because it's a pretty large document and it had not been provided to the opposition in a timely manner. It was mentioned, but it was not provided to them in a timely manner to have a proper discussion in really. I remember all that. And if you check, I could probably find the parliament sitting too. I'm pretty sure that I absolutely have the parliament sitting. But it wasn't necessary for me to go and find all of that because all of you know that what I'm saying is true. But you have to understand the target audience. The target audience are those who were 2 years old at that point in time. The target audience is those who were 3 years old and 4 years old and 5 years old at that point in time when VAT was introduced into Grenada. You know why that's the target audience? Because they are voters for the first time in this election. Those who were 3 years old and 4 years old and 5 years old and them kind of thing. This should be the first election that they're voting in many instances. That is the children that born long after Ivan now. The Ivan children were the ones that vote for the first time in the last election. These were the children that don't know anything about before. And even though they might have been 2 years old and 3 years old and so on at that point in time, these young people, or were born in at that time, these young people, really and truly, these young people would not know what was taking place around them at that point in time. Them wouldn't know that was NDC that was in office. Out of the last 4 elections in Grenada, NNP win 2 and NDC win 2. Tell the people the truth. Stop trying to make it look like it was just, only get 15-0 back-to-back. We know it hurt all you. We understand that. But stop trying to make it look as the only government in office was the NNP. And you know, that's the same people that come and talking about you must be factual and you must misrepresent things. All of that they say in Parliament today.
And let's be careful, Madam President, because when misinformation is spread recklessly, especially by individuals in positions of influence.
Like you? Information, I know you saying that day because you dropped some information there that was reckless and that was untrue and trying to pass it off as truth and still come back disrespecting the intelligence of all of us here and come back trying to tell us it's not that you say?
Careful, Madam President, because when misinformation is spread recklessly, especially by individuals in positions of influence, it creates unnecessary panic among citizens.
Oh yeah, it creates unnecessary panic among citizens, but you just lie on the NNP. You either don't know what was going on before, because we know a lot of Ole wasn't involved in anything really. Ole was just existing in Grenada. And then you also an opportunity, so you're rushing. So they get rid of Lako, you get Lako blind in the Senate. You wasn't their first choice. They grab you after Lako, they say, well, we need somebody. Look at, oh, yeah, she, grab her. Yeah. And they get a little blind in the Senate. Yeah, we understand that. I mean, no feelings hurt, nothing like that. Yeah, you get through. But it's only because they get rid of Lako. As the Prime Minister say, he lost trust in his member. I don't know, he lose trust in his member. He trusts my member. But anyhow, but let me hear the rest of what she had to say here.
Honorable citizens who are already struggling with
Now we're going
influence. It creates unnecessary panic among citizens, particularly vulnerable citizens who are already struggling with the cost of living and economic uncertainty.
Also, you admitting that there are people in this country suffering and struggling with the cost of living. You understand? You know that? So your party knows that? Because they didn't take no measures to protect them people. We look at what the Prime Minister said last night. The busman had to call and say, well, basically, the man talking, the man lying. So when you come to us now, you're telling us that there are people that are vulnerable in this country, that the cost of living is negatively affecting them. You admitting that? No, I don't want you to say you didn't say it again. That's all I play.
Panic among citizens, particularly vulnerable citizens who are already struggling with the cost of living and economic uncertainty.
So you understand that there's economic uncertainty in our country right now, and your government is doing nothing to help it. This bill that they're passing there, the implementation of it is not going to happen. We know that. And if you try to implement it, what you're going to do is that the people who utilize those services on the island of Grenada, you are going to make all of us end up in problems. We're going to have to register as though we're outside of Grenada and all of that. We're going to have serious problems. Grenada might end up delisted. So you're not going to be helping the economy. You will actually be damaging the economy. And that's a fact. So when you come talking, know what you're talking about. So you know that there are people that are struggling with the cost of living in the country right now. What is your government doing to help those people that are struggling right now? Adding more things to the tax and widening the tax base?
Madam President, the people deserve facts, not...
The people deserve facts, yes. And the fact is that you lie. That's the fact. The fact is you do not know that of which you speak. That is the fact. You know why they didn't fire you? All they need to go. Waste of time.
They deserve education, not exaggeration of the situation. And they deserve leadership that informs responsibly.
Is that informing responsibly? It's going and stand up in the parliament of our country and lie. This thing is in the Hansard, you know. This thing is on the parliament record that 50 years from now, some child doing research, going through the records, will see that this was said and might believe that during the year 2010, it was the NDC in office. This thing is in our record. This lie by this individual is in our Hansard, in our collective national memory right now. It is there. So that 150 years from now, when all of us have long gone to the dust, that record, which what she said today in our parliament, will still be there. And talking about being what?
Emotionally for political convenience. I'm very annoyed by it, Madam President. Madam President, disagreement in politics is normal. It is
this thing is not about disagreement. This thing is giving your view in relation to things that obviously your government did not look at. That's why I played Senator Cox earlier, so that you could have heard how he took apart every aspect of this thing. You all obviously did not go through it properly. You needed to grab something to go. I would have preferred if you did grab and go with the sex offenders registry. You as a woman should be calling on your party to make sure that they come forward with the sex offenders registry and other legislation to protect people in this country. Instead of that, you're there lying and then come in and put up posts like if the rest of us dunce in this country, like if none of us ever went to school. And it have people that ain't go to school that more brilliant than you. Not because you hold the position as senator means that you're the repository of all knowledge. Just understand that first of all. Because I realize that is what Somalia going, the road Somalia going down. That you MP and you senator, so you're the repository of all knowledge. You are not the repository of all knowledge. So stop trying to make it look like you are an expert on every issue you talk on, because you spend the whole time talking stupidness. Nonsense.
Debate is healthy in democracy, but I believe we must all be responsible enough to not weaponize misinformation in a manner that undermines public trust and creates confusion among the population. This honorable House, Madam President, has a duty to explain legislation clearly and truthfully. And that is exactly why I felt compelled to make my contribution in this way today, Madam President.
Should I feel compelled to sit down and do talk? Because all you say and nothing is the same thing. Seriously. All you say and nothing is the same thing. Because, listen this one. Let me see if I could find, I think I had that one day. Nice, yeah.
Madam President, I hear lots of the talk that we need better health care. And we need better this and we need better that, Madam President.
Also, it's talk about we need better healthcare, so we don't need better healthcare. I just talk. We don't need better healthcare. So we don't need better healthcare. You hear the talk. You ain't see it. You ain't go to Princess Alice. You ain't go to the General Hospital and see what's going on right now. We know it's at a point in time you was up at the General Hospital, but we ain't going to get into that one tonight. Yeah? We know it at we know it at a point in time you was up there and certain activities take place and things, police are getting involved. We know. Yeah? Nice.
Madam President, I hear lots of the talk that we need better health care. And we need better this and we need better that, Madam President. And there's also talk that we're borrowing and why should we have to borrow? But Madam President, the question I therefore ask in turn, if we don't borrow, if we don't travel, if we don't tax.
Okay, so borrow, travel and tax. That is important. So borrow, travel and tax. All right, so that is the NDC watchwords now. NDC, borrow, travel, tax. Yeah, that is the watchwords of the NDC right now. George Brizan might be turning like a rota right now in the tomb. NDC, borrow, travel, tax. That's the new watchwords of the NDC right now. Isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
If we don't borrow, if we don't travel, if we don't tax, then what are we doing, Madam President?
What are you doing? Nothing. That's the exact thing. Nothing. You all rushing to patch some road and so now because you want to call an election. All of a sudden, all you realize that have young people right now. All you couldn't even pull off the youth rally because the young people ain't really want nothing to do with you all. They see that you all don't care about them, so they ain't really want nothing to do with you all. So you all could not hold a youth rally. It's not that you all postpone and put off. You couldn't hold it. So all you have to find some other mechanism now to try to get some of them out to the activities that you have. Yeah? Folks, that's the kind of nonsense these people go in and speak. While people trying to have a proper discussion and look at the bill that is before the parliament and say, hey, this bill, we're not disagreeing with the fact that, okay, you have to do certain taxes, but why now? It's just like you're going and move the people in Guangkai. People not saying that you don't have to move the people in Guangkai, but why the undue haste and rush to move them now? Why you must get them out of that area right now? So 6 months making a big difference to say, okay, 6 months, we're going to get this place for you, we're going to relocate you, or check with your family, see if you get a place to relocate and so on. We'll help you to relocate, all of that, and then within that 6 month period, you move the people. Because you can't say it can't be done. It's been done successfully by the New National Party before. It has been done by the New National Party before. But instead, they go in Parliament to talk things like,
should not descend into political theater, Madam President. It should instead be about good governance, sustainability, accountability, and ensuring that our tax system evolves alongside the modern economy. Madam President, it is also important that we address misinformation responsibly and honestly.
If you are addressing misinformation honestly and respectfully, you would not post that nonsense you post this afternoon. You would have shame. You would have put your head in a cracker's bag. You would have never hurt Buju.
Can spread very quickly when matters of taxation are discussed without clarity or context.
There was no clarity and there was no context. You said the NNP introduced VAT in 2010. You said it. Yeah? Not me that went in Parliament and said it. Not somebody from the NNP side. You went and tried to sell that gubar to the people of Grenada. You were the one selling gubar.
Madam President, since we are talking and speaking about honesty today, let us also speak factually. That was first introduced in Grenada under the administration of the new National Party government in 2010. Speak factually. That was first introduced in Grenada under the administration of the new National Party government in 2010. Speak factually. That was first introduced in Grenada under the administration of the new National Party government in 2010.
I listen, tonight, Senator, I'm not going to use the honorable because I believe you're honorable. Seville Francis, go and make your own clip. Go to the Parliament site right now. Get the video. Since you're claiming that what you said before puts these words into context, go cut it out and circulate it yourself. You have 24 hours. Go and do it. Put it out yourself. Circulate it yourself to show where what you said before is supposed to give the impression that it was the NDC during that time, but the NNP introduced VAT before. The NNP never introduced VAT. We had GCT. Yes, there were mechanisms, there were discussions in relation to a new taxation system to be put in place. The NDC came in and they did what they want to do with it, and then they introduced VAT starting January 2010. It was brought to Parliament, I think for a first reading probably in about September of 2009. There was the first reading, I think, of it. Or it was laid at the thing for discussion, and then it was brought to Parliament in December. Because I had to rush through it in December because I had to implement it in January. And I remember the talk was that businesses are not ready and all of that. I remember the whole discussion that took place in relation to VAT at that point in time. Because people were unsure of how it was to be implemented. Businesses had different issues with it, and so it took quite a little while for it to smooth out. And so, yeah, it took a little while. But don't come to us and try to disrespect us. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because you know not of which you speak or you lie.
And speaking about honesty today, let us also speak factually. That was first introduced in Grenada under the administration of the new National Party government in 2010. Speak factually. That was first introduced in Grenada under the administration of the new National...
Yeah, Camille ain't going to want to hear more of that. Camille done with that. Camille want to hear more of that. And after they say that, they still come in to try and tell you the following, yeah? They're still trying to come and tell you, go and do your homework. Yeah? There's a difference between introduced and implemented. I said first introduced by the NNP. That is not what she said. My sentence continued to say that in 2010, through the VAT Act, became an established part. That is not... You all heard what she said, so I don't even want to go over that with you. But it's the disrespect I don't like. I don't like it. You do something wrong, say you do something wrong. And you know why is even worse? This cuts across, because there's another issue when it comes to that Ministry of Youth. Today, I saw a press release coming out from the Ministry of Youth, and let me pull up the press release here. Sorry, folks in the comment section, I'll get to you in a little while. I saw a release coming out from the Ministry of Youth today, so I had to take off these glasses and put on the other one to double check and make sure I was seeing what I thought I was seeing. Yeah? And let me tell you just how nonsensical and I'm going to put this one up large, man. Yeah. For immediate release, and that was released yesterday, the 5th of May 2026. It says here, Ministry of Youth and Sports to host inaugural National Youth Awards on May the 7th. Now, May the 7th is when? May the 7th is tomorrow, isn't it? We know there's no National Youth Awards taking place tomorrow. So first of all, this part is absolutely wrong that it's taking place on May the 7th. Because the body of it goes on to say, the inaugural awards ceremony will be held on Tuesday, June the 16th. So you realize, all those activities they're looking to have in that week, that specific week of June, all kind of activities. And I'm telling you, don't necessarily look at it as that is when they go in and announce anything. They could go and announce things this weekend, and that could be the end of the campaign. Because I see some people only telling me, oh, that is the end of the camp. Stop that stupidness. Get ready now like if election is in 21 days from now. Stop it with this thing about, oh, it's June, they're going and announce and that kind of thing. No. Be prepared now, get ready now. So it's saying the inaugural. And let me see what inaugural mean. Let me click here and see. No, let me highlight the word first. Inaugural could have various meanings in it. Yeah, no, it's not this one by. Yeah, I'll go find it. We're like, okay, we'll copy the word inaugural and we will go to we'll go to Webster's dictionary. Yeah, we go into Webster's dictionary. Yeah. And let me put in the word inaugural and see what that means. The word inaugural, all right. So the word inaugural, marking a beginning, first in a projected series. Yeah? So it's going to be the inaugural. So this is supposed to be the first. This is supposed to be the first in this. But folks, I started working in 2005 with the ministry. In fact, those days was the Department of Youth. In 2005. Yeah, that is when Emlyn Pierre reached out to me and I started working with the Ministry of Youth in the year 2005. The Ministry of Youth was already having National Youth Awards back in 2005. In fact, Honorable Kate Skeeter Lois Peters is through Youth Awards and Global Youth Service Day that I got to know Honorable Kate Skeeter Lois Peters all those years ago. Because it was in October is when the ministry, well, the Department of Youth used to hold the Youth Week of Activities. During the Youth Week of Activities, and there are many of you in your 30s and 40s that could bear out what I'm saying here as the truth. You all know that for a fact. Yeah? Whether it's that youth group in St. David with Short Girl and them, they, oh boy, the name is slipping me right now, but I was showing them on a video the other day. Yeah, or those in Telescope, or those in St. Patrick, or those in Carriacou in Mount Royal. So we had Global Youth Service Week, and we also, after a while, we said Global Youth Service Week was too short a time, and it was expanded by the Honorable Emlyn Pierre. At that time, Senator Emlyn Pierre, it was expanded into Youth Month. So we had a month of activities. So we had quizzes. We had Youth Month quiz. We had Parliament sittings, so you had, that is the point in time that we broke out from having just the one National Youth Parliament and we started having parish youth parliaments. So you had Rondell John and Andy Andrews over there in St. David that held the first parish youth parliament at the Wester Hall Secondary School during that period of time. You had Anderson Gaskin, Elva James, and the rest of the St. George crew that had the first St. George Youth Parliament, if I remember correctly. That was at TAMCC, at the Home Economics Division over there. I think that's where they had that particular one. Yeah? Carriacou had theirs at the, was it at the Hillsborough Secondary School? I think it was at the Hillsborough Secondary School. That was with people like Shem Kwamina, Linton Lendor, yeah, that whole crew. What's her name again? The names are slipping me now. But that entire crew out there in Carriacou and Petit Martinique. Yeah, De Rocher from over in Carriacou. Keshroy. Yeah, that whole crew that was there. So they used to have, they had their first parish youth parliament. Well, in the case, Carriacou is not a parish, it's a ward, but they had their youth parliament there. Was it there? They had one, yeah. Was at the school, yes, at the school. And I have photos of these things. I could prove that these things took place. Carriacou even had their own National Youth Awards, separate from the national one. Carriacou had their own National Youth Awards. I saw the pictures just the other day. I could put them up and prove what I'm saying. So when you hear this group of people now coming and talk about inaugural, this is not the inaugural. Even during, and I like to give Jackie Jacket, even during the period at the last NDC, they had National Youth Awards too. I know because one of my best friends win the Prime Minister's Award at the point in time. So don't come to think about inaugural. But it just shows you all were never involved before. So when you all hear about these things now, it's like as though it's something new. So you all don't know about when the Rennie girl and I'm trying to remember the St. Andrew's crew and the St. John's crew and the St. Patrick crew, all of these folks that were in the Ministry of Youth at that point in time. And the same people that you all got rid of at the end of 2008 when they came in. These people had a body of work that was unmatched then and is unmatched now of what they did in youth development. Which is why it hurts me when I see people like this come forward lying to our young people, willfully trying to mislead them, and on top of that, coming to sell things like you all having inaugural youth. What inaugural award ceremony you all having? What inaugural? You all didn't know anything. You all were never involved. You all didn't care before. That is why you all don't know that there were already National Youth Awards taking place in Grenada. Since you all come in, you all ain't do none. But let me see. I must be able to find Honorable Kate Skeeter Lewis Peters. Don't do them kind of thing. Don't do them kind of thing. Don't lie to the Grenadian people that don't like it. You know, in fact, let me see if I could find the one here where they're speaking about youth awards and all of these things.
With my updates from the ministry, we have the National Youth Awards nominations currently open, and that nominations closes on the 15th of May, that's next week. So we are asking you to nominate a young person, a young change maker that has served, and you believe that their contribution is so impactful that they deserve to be recognized. And we know what recognition can do for a person, Madam President. So some of the areas that we have on the nomination form: entrepreneurship, innovation and professional excellence, environmental, health and wellness, leadership, service and community development, arts, culture and creative economy. So I'm encouraging you, once you know someone within those categories and they have made contributions, you can nominate them. Madam President, also I wish to...
And you know the worst thing, I heard GBN come on and making the same mistake talking about inaugural youth awards. And if I remember correctly, there should be a staff member in GBN who received an award in one of the national youth ceremonies before.
It's that the National Youth Parliament program has started at the parish level, or continuing this cohort at the parish level right now, and we have training ongoing with...
So people in the diaspora who don't know better, they may be there, and young folks, because remember I tell you, it's two demographic of people they're looking at, diaspora and young people who don't know better. May be thinking now, this is the first time you're having national youth parliament at the parish level. It is not. I have the photos, I have the videos. I could prove everything I say. I don't have to come here and lie. Listen, I've been involved in media since the year 1996. Count the amount of years that is now. This year should make it 30 years, isn't it? So I've been involved in media since then. I have never been taken to court for anything I've said, written, or done for a program. Never. I've been involved in print media, I've been involved in radio, I've been involved in television, I've been involved in podcasting, and not once have I even been threatened with a pre-action protocol letter regarding anything I've said on a program. Yeah, you know why? Because I always make sure that I'm speaking the truth. I always make sure that I'm factual. And if I make a fumble and I make a mistake, I come back and I say, hey, I made a mistake, I made an error. Because it definitely was not me trying to willfully mislead anybody. But I may have been misled. But I've never been taken to court. Never. For anything that I have done. Knock on wood. I've never been taken to court. And there's a reason for that. I'm always factual with what I have to say.
Purcell, Dame Joe Purcell, and Madam President, so far what we're seeing is very successful and very promising. As you know, the National Youth Parliament cohort. They run for a two-year period, and that is quickly coming to an end. So we are ensuring that we have that continuous flow, and we are calling facilitators, persons who are interested in becoming facilitators of the National Youth Parliament program for the different parishes. You can reach out to us at the Ministry of Youth and Sports to be able to make your contributions to this program. Also, Madam President, I want to remind our young people that we have the Youtrepreneurs program that is currently ongoing. It's a collaborative effort with Grenada.
Well, here's this. So we had the Grenada Youth Enterprise Initiative, GYEI. In fact, one of the young folks who came out of the GYEI was a young man by the name of Ryan Smith. He was also the Prime Minister's Award winner at one of the youth awards. He won the Prime Minister's Youth Award. And we had the Grenada Youth Enterprise Initiative, which was destroyed by the last NDC. Then when we came back in office, we also had, and look at go in Nexa and find Kevin Andal. Mr. Norman Gilbert has now gone to the great beyond. Mr. Renault has now gone to the great beyond. But look at go in Nexa Credit Union and find Mr. Kevin Andal. The same Kevin Andal they run. Or look at go and find Kevin Andal and ask him. Because what we did is instead of having the youth enterprise as a standalone program under the ministry, we put the youth enterprise initiative as one of the pathways through the Imani program. So in other words, you could go and train in a bakery. So you learn how to make bread and pastries and all those sort of things and learn how to operate. After your 2 years, we could send you now to do small business training. And from the small business training, you prepare a business plan. And with that business plan, we would fund you to be able to start your own operations. That is how we did it. What did they do? Destroy that. And there were several successful businesses out of that. And we're not even getting into the Empower and the Project Fly and so on and how those help people. But they destroyed that aspect of the Imani program where we were sending people there. Where through Imani, somebody was training and you were attached, let's say you were attached to Princess Alice Hospital. Yeah? And you were carrying out particular duties there and opportunities came for nurses to be trained. As happened, we sent them to train and so on. They're full nurses. Some of the people you're seeing in white in the hospital here now, some of the people who have left and gone, started off as Imani trainees and they went along that pathway. So it wasn't that you're just in Imani and you're in Imani, but when you're going out, you could have go and study, you could have go and start your own business, or you could have get permanently employed. But these people giving you the impression that what they're doing is something new. So they're talking about this. They ain't talking about the fact that we had a business center set up in St. Mark. At the pavilion there in St. Mark, business center by the Ministry of Youth was set up there so that young people in St. Patrick, whether you're from Shantimel, or you're from Rose Hill, or you're from over in River Sally, you could have gone down to the center in St. Mark and they would have helped you to put together a business plan that you could use with the ministry for the ministry's entrepreneurial program, or you could have gone to any credit union or bank with it, or lending institution to get money to start your own small business. And you would have gotten support there to print your documents, to help you type up your documents. So it was a small business support center that was there. What the NDC do when they come in? Shut it down. So don't come and talk no entrepreneurial for us now because you're looking for young people vote. How much young people leave school between 2022 and now and did not have the opportunities that were left there by the NNP because you all decide to destroy it? Don't come with no kind of thing now about, well, we had this. So who NNP used to do it with us? The same GDB and GIDC? We used to do the training with the GIDC and you get the funding through the GDB and so too.
And it's called Youtrepreneurs because it's our youth as entrepreneurs, and that is any area that you have a small business within the agricultural field, you are able to qualify for grants.
We had it more than agriculture because Ryan Smith was in agriculture. So we had it in agriculture. We had it if you're doing craft because we had fellas that was doing painting and so on. So we had it guys that doing craft, guys in agriculture. You had Lee Beggs, you had Ryan Smith. I could remember the names of these guys because me and Norman Gilbert, the same deceased Norman Gilbert, used to go on these guys' farm. Myself, the Honorable Emlyn Pierre, I used to go because I was the cameraman. So I was the official Mako. So that's how I know. So you had people that had small shop. You had people that were doing here. You had fellas with barber shop. All sorts of things. All of these things were set up through the Ministry of Youth. All of these things were set up there. You had people that were into pastries and all sort of thing. In the other iteration, when we came back into power in 2013, you had people that started a small business doing catering and so through the Imani program. So when they come just talking about for agriculture alone, they're just trying to tick a box where we were actually trying to help people. Watch, you know, I'm nearly out of time and I need to open the phone line. Let me open the phone line. Yeah, let me open the phone line because I know some of you all may want to. Let me open the phone lines. Yeah, let me open the phone line. Let me move that here. Move. We fed up with you. We done with you. Let me open that. Let me open the phone line. I remember having to go up on a particular farm, myself and the same late Norman Gilbert going up on a farm. And we had to take off our shoes down at the bottom of the farm because more than I tell you mud, rainfall, and we decide no, we going up on that farm up in Mardi Gras. We going up on the farm regardless of rainfall, raining, we going. So that it had a lot of rain, the place was soaking wet mud. And both of us dress. We dress for work, so you have on your soft pants, your tie, your shirt, and things. You got the tie. We roll up with pants to we knee and go up in the bush to go on that farm. That was youth work. Not coming and lie for people in the parliament of the country. When the Honorable Emlyn Pierre was a senator and she went to parliament, she could have spoken for hours in relation to the work that took place for just the week before, much less what take place for the month. She could have spoken for hours in relation to those things. We have a caller online. Hello, good night. Yes, go right ahead. Let me go ahead.
National election.
Caller, 1 minute. Hold on. You're sounding very distorted to me, which means the listeners can't hear you. You're sounding very distorted, and I don't know if it's where you're located. Hello, go ahead now. Right, go ahead.
Election in 2008, NEC won election in 4. And election
hold on, caller.
2013.
Hold on, caller. We went over all of that, and that's what I tell you sometime. There is no need to take up the time repeating what I said several times in the program. If you want to introduce something new, you can introduce it because we have limited time and other people may want to call. So it does make sense to come back with the same thing that I just said. Yeah? Hello? Or maybe he got a call. Hello? Yeah, call back. But what I'm saying is it doesn't make sense. The same thing I just say, you come back. Because we talk about the 11-4, we talk about all of that already. Let's just, if you want to introduce a new something, introduce it. But let's not go back on the same thing that I just said. So the phone lines are open, 440-7377 and 421-7279. Those are the numbers for you to call and get onto the inside of tonight's program. Yeah, so call back if you want to introduce another aspect of it. And folks, let me remind you all of this activity. The women's arm of the St. John constituency branch, they're having a community fun day and health fair. That's going to be taking place on Sunday, the 24th of May 2026 from noon until. It's going to be at the Cuthbert Peters Park. They're going to have various activities for kids and local organizations. They're free health checks and screenings, health and information booth, karaoke. They're going to be having health tips competition, bingo, fitness demos. Food and drinks will be on sale. So that's the St. John branch of the New National Party Women's Arm. They're having the Community Fun Day and Health Fair under the theme Stronger Together. All right, so Lime and Live Well. I like that. Lime and Live Well. So that's going to be taking place Sunday, May the 24th, 2026 from noon until at the Cuthbert Peters Park. All right, make sure you head on out there once you get the opportunity.
Andre Fletcher, Uriah Peters, David Beckett, Woods and Whitey, Ajamo Junior, Maury and Calgary, Mr. Kila and Kirani, Shama Wesley Smith, Timothy and Twine, and Kitisha, just to name a few. Whether or not you like Dr. Keith Mitchell, he made a great contribution too. So we have to pay tribute to the local heroes we have right here. Give them the
You know, the thing is, I'm passionate when it comes to youth work because of the years that I spent working in youth and helping develop some. I'm always glad when I see a young person and they stop and they pull up in the car and they say, Mr. Scott. I'm always happy when I see that. Some of them I don't even remember them. Yeah, sometimes I don't remember them, you know. Mr. Scott, you can't remember me? You did do this for me or you did do that for me? Oh, I'd come up to the complex because I needed this done and he helped me with that when I was in TAM CC. I can't remember. They remember, but I can't remember.
before I dead, before I dead, before I dead. Give me flowers.
Someone is saying GBN, what do expect, Sheldon? I'm sure if GBN look back, they have a tape from the same program you're talking. Yes, I'm positive that GBN has it because I know of one particular staff member. In fact, I could think of two that are in GBN now that won National Youth Awards. Yeah.
You recognize me now. When I finish my little mission here and my father tell me come home, you will not be able to help me there because I'll be standing alone. But if I'm hungry now, you could feed me or you could wait till I starve to death. And blow your nose while they're reading me, you are OG, you must stop the damn disrespect.
And we're into the final 8 minutes. And let me take this call. Hello, good night. Hello, good night.
Sheldon, good night.
Yes, caller, go right ahead.
Yes, a long time I didn't call this program, but let me just say this. I've listened to this program tonight, and it's a shame. It's a big shame to hear that particular senator talk build this nonsense. Sheldon, I could have remember in 2008, 2009, somewhere around there, in Burnett Government School, when Nazimbok was the finance minister, and they had a budget consultation where they wanted was to introduce that same VAT into Grenada. Mm-hmm. And I even give my input on it, give my contribution. So to come and to talk and to say that you are factual, you want to set the record straight, you want to be free, you want to be right with people. And at the end, you know you're lying. Either you know you're lying, or you don't know if you're lying, or you don't know if you don't know what you're talking about. Because this thing ain't making no sense. If you don't know what you're talking about, ask information, get information, do your research. Don't come out to the Grenadian people, don't say anything. Don't come out and to speak this type of garbage. It makes no sense because, as you rightfully said, who you think they're targeting? Those in the diaspora and those who are first-time voters. That's who they are targeting. So I am admonishing, and including myself too. Let us engage these young people all day. Let us educate these young people. Yeah? And let us remind them that we Grenada were where Grenada is now, and if Grenada is better off today than under NNP. So, Sheldon, this is my 22 pence for tonight, and as I said, a long time I haven't called, so I will continue calling back regular again. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you so very much. Yes, indeed, folks. 6 minutes remaining on the program tonight. Yeah, 6 minutes remaining on the program tonight. Yeah, just going through the comments now. Yeah, just getting to, just finally getting to go through the comments on the live tonight. Yeah, yeah. 421-7279 440-7377. You've got to call us on the WhatsApp on both numbers. I'd like you all to remind them that out of the 4 last elections, NDC won 2. So NDC, if you're checking the 4, NDC, NNP, NDC. Yeah? So out of the last 4 elections, it was 2 for the NNP, 2 for the NDC. Don't try to get the impression it was just the NNP. Don't do that. No, that's not truthful.
I said to give me flowers before then.
And you see, the worst part of it, the thing that really ticks me off, is that after they do that, and they realize people start to speak about it, they go and putting up posts to try and talk down to people, like if you don't know what you're talking about and they know what they're talking about, when it's obvious they know not of what they speak. That is the part that really ticking me off, you know. Yeah, it's the part that really upsetting me.
Mr. Kilan, Kirani, Shama Wesley, Swift, Timothy and Twine, and Kitisha, just to name a few. Whether or not you like Dr. Keith Mitchell, he made a great contribution too. So we have to pay tribute to the local heroes we have right here. Give them the honor they deserve before they disappear. Try to do it in advance. If you don't want no guilt on your conscience, after they're dead and gone, what you do as they have no importance. So give me now instead cocoa, fish cake and bread. Give me flowers before I dead. Don't wait
And folks, I just got a message here that is speaking to the situation with the sargassum. And I want to believe that's what taking place with the sargassum again. Because remember, these people supposed to have been able to deal with the sargassum. They had all the plans. They knew what to do. Them is the boss when it comes to sargassum. I want to believe that, man. Nah. I don't want to believe that the sargassum are seeing this so up in St. Andrews again. No, I don't want to believe that. Yeah? Nah, man. Nah. Pasu send that from me. Joke making, man. You ain't serious. That can't be sargassum up there like that again. Let me just pull it up so that you all can see. Yeah, it might be the last thing we show in for tonight, but yeah, at least that you can see what is taking place with the sargassum up in St. Andrew. Yeah? So I wonder if they've got the teams out there, because I've been following online for the past 2 weeks, and for the past 2 weeks they have been saying that there's a significant bloom in relation to sargassum that is heading for the region. That information is not information that's locked away somewhere. You don't have to wait to see it on the beach to know it's coming. That information was available online, that the sargassum is heading our direction. So you all know what's going on happen with the people all in Gladstone Road, etc. All of them in Grenville itself. You all know what's going to be taking place with them now, because this is rolling in. And it's if these people will do what is necessary to move it out. Yeah? And somebody's messaging me. It's already smelling really bad. Oh boy. Yeah, somebody's telling me that it's already smelling really bad already. Now remember, these are the people who are in office now that was supposed to have a net. They actually have boats to capture it before it gets in there. They have nets for that. But it looked like the nets is only good for the south of the island, and the boats are only good for the south of the island, because in their mind, big parish people don't count. That is as far as the NDC is concerned. They don't really care about all you up there, you know. They don't care about St. Andrew people, big parish people, OGMs, original Grenville man and original Grenville woman. They don't care about all you. They only care about down. So if it was heading to Granans Beach, maybe they might have found the nets and so to go and pull it in and get it before it hit Granans Beach. But it in Grenville, where Grenville people live in, where Grenville people work in, where you all are the ones that have to face the stench, the inconvenience of it going out there. The fishermen who are in Soubise and Marquis and in Grenville, who already have to pay $17 for the fuel, per gallon for the fuel, per liter for the fuel. They already have to pay that. And now they have these additional challenges with being able to bring their boats in and go out to sea and come back and so on. You know what's going to be happening in Soubise and Marquis by the weekend? I ain't see nobody down there moving anything. Yeah? So that's what's taking place with that. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for Talking Points tonight. It's been wonderful being here with you. And in everything you say and do it safe and secure. We want to be speaking to you and with you and definitely not about you. Love each and every one of you and hope that you have a fabulous remainder of the night tonight. Till we're back on tomorrow with more talking points for you. In whatever you do and say, do it safe and secure. Want to be speaking to you and with you and not about you. Let me send a song out for the Bossmen tonight, man.
Recently, Jenny bought a new boss. Asked for a free ride, she started to cuss. She say, help, I'm no stupid. You always hold me old boss free already. Now I see you come back again. You take this riding thing as a bloody vein. You are riding this new bus free. Pay me boss like everybody. Because I am not no A hole. I am not a B hole. I am not no pump hole. I am no cocky hole. If you feel you could ride me free, pay me boss like everybody. You are getting away from me. Pay me boss the same money. You are getting away scotch free. Pay me boss like everybody. You are getting away easy. Pay me boss the same money. You have to pay. Payment and no rent. You have to pay the bus. You must pay. What do you mean every time you have to rent free? Have to pay it, everybody. I say, woman, stop embarrassing me. We just go down as a good family. She say, whether family or not, when come to business, it doesn't have that. She say, you take great advantage of me. Every time we meet, you always ride me free. Things don't remain the same. You ain't getting no plastic free ride again. Cause I am not no A hole. I am not a B hole. I am not no pump hole. I am no cocky hole. If you feel you could ride me free, pay me boss like everybody. You are getting away from me. Pay me boss the same money. You are getting away scotch free. Pay me boss like everybody. You are getting away easy. Pay me boss the same money. You have to pay. Payment and no rent. You have to pay the bus. You must pay. What do you mean every time you have to rent free? You have to pay it, everybody. She say Wizard is a very nice man. Every time he ride, he just stretch his hand. Don't think about so what's up and it will get a free ride anytime you want. Squeeze the hand round the eyes up. Just pay me boss on the very spot. This is tangle like used to pay me boss better. Cause I am not no A hole. I am not a B hole. I am not no pump hole. I am no cocky hole. If you feel you could ride me free, pay me boss like everybody. You are getting away from me. Pay me boss the same money. You are getting away scotch free. Pay me boss like everybody. You are getting away easy. Pay me boss the same money. You have to pay. Payment and no rent. You have to pay the bus. You must pay. What do you mean every time you have to rent free? You have to pay it, everybody. She say, I want money for a router. I want money to buy a spec I want money for a gasket. I want money to buy some new topics. I want money to put me gas and I want money to fix the old exhaust. Hey, I am not a A hole. I am not a B hole. I am not a fuck hole. I am no cocky hole. If you feel you could ride me free,
Baby boss like everybody.
you are getting away from me.
Baby boss the same money.
You are getting away scotch